welcome to or welcome back to my channel yet again for another week. Unfortunately, we will not be doing another review this week because it looks like we're on a mid-season break. But nevertheless, the show must go on, so we're gonna do some juicing and then we're gonna do a little bit of a chit-chat afterwards. So, on to the video. So I like to keep things simple, so we'll only be needing baby spinach, apples, and oranges. If, however, you like a bit more flair than I do, you can add ginger and lemon to your juice mixture. Okay, so first things first, I make sure my spinach is washed completely. I cut my apples into smaller pieces so it's easier to juice, including cutting out the centers and the seeds. And for my oranges, I take the skin off in its entirety, meaning even that white part underneath, because otherwise it makes the juice very thick and leaves like a white cast, which is gross in my opinion. Once everything's ready, we set aside our spinach and we begin juicing our apples and oranges.
Are you finished, Mr. Slade? No, I'm just getting warmed up.
Once completed with the apples, we go ahead and we start juicing the oranges. Oranges are typically easier to juice, so I don't usually cut them up, but if you like, you can cut them up and remove the seeds before juicing. Much easier, all done. Once we finish juicing the apples and the oranges, this is what it looks like. And from there, we're going to take our baby spinach, put it in the blender and liquefy it, because obviously spinach, there's nothing to juice. So let's do that. By the way, you can add as much spinach or as little spinach as you would like. I usually fill the blender because for me, the spinach is the star of the show. After adding all the baby spinach to the blender that it can hold, you use the juice mixture that we previously did as the liquid to blend the spinach. Blend until completely smooth or till it has a consistency that you like. Once completed, the mixture should have a light green color. Go ahead and mix the remainder of the juice with what you have just blended. At this point, the mixture should be nice and smooth with no residue. pour into a jug or a storage container, give it a good stir or a good shake, and enjoy. Okay, so we're back at our usual spot. We have our green juice. All is well. So I just wanted to do somewhat of a candid chit chat, talking about, since we don't have an episode this week, about some of the conversations that have been started as a result of Tressa's and Stacy's exit on the show last week. I mean, for one thing, there has been a lot of conversation about Tressa and the reasons why person thought she went home, and I think the main conversation is about her weight. So I somewhat agree, but what's interesting to me is that Stacy and Tressa went home at the same time, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about that in society today. Of course, we know there is a preference for Eurocentric features. There's a Eurocentric standard. However, that's just not the case for everyone, as in that's just not the reality for everyone. Not everyone fits that mold. So it is good to show variety, but it's interesting to me to note that while Tressa has been voted off because, wow, she has such a great personality, she seems cool, but I guess she doesn't look the way that most men, not to say all, but most men would automatically or instinctively be attracted to. And for me, it's interesting to note that Stacy also went home, whereas Stacy fits the mold a little bit better. Not even a little bit, a lot better. Because if we look at Stacy, she would fit the mold of what a lot of men would go after based on what is generally acceptable under Eurocentric standards, of course. Not to say this is the standard in every single country, because that's not the case. I mean, just her features, her complexion, her hair, and she also went home because, from what I understood, it all came down to her personality. So it's interesting to see that a lot of people are saying, you know, Tressa goes home because it's just her weight or whatever, but Stacy also went home and she looks the way most people want her to look, but did not have the personality. And it just comes down to, you know, it really just comes down to, you have to be confident with yourself and work with what you have. Because in addition to Stacy looking the way she looks, a lot of people felt the need to point out that it could have been because she's too old. And it's just like, no one stays young forever. I mean, I'm in my 20s now, but there is going to come a point when you're in your 40s or 50s or whatever. No one stays young forever. Your 20s is but what, 9 years, and that's it, you know. So it's just something that I thought was worth talking about or worth pointing out, to see that no matter how much you think you may fit society's mold, no matter how much you think you may be the, I guess, the cookie cutter type of person, it's always going to be something, because a lot of people really do not like Stacy. I think a lot of the hate also comes when you have a certain look. So while we know there is definitely pretty privilege, I think a lot of people get backlash when they are generally viewed as attractive. It's because I see a lot of that attitude towards Stacy online, where it's like, oh, she was pretty, so she expected that, you know, she was not going to be voted off. It's almost like there's a bit of joy in seeing her leave, because she is, well, she is the I guess the expected, or closer to the precedent then. So there's some sort of pleasure in seeing her leave, which I'm not gonna lie, I also felt like she thought, I'm here to stay, because she was, you know, the attitude a little bit, that's what she was giving off. But it really all just comes down to loving yourself and being confident with whatever you've got. Because, see, in certain countries, Tressa would be very much warranted, I'm not gonna call any country names, but I'm from the Caribbean, and there are certain parts in the Caribbean where this is the case. Of course, as time goes on, certain Caribbean countries are heavily influenced by what Americans do, and of course, Americans are very much on the wave of the Eurocentric standard, and so the higher the social status, like middle class or upper class, you find that the standard is closer to the American standard, which follows the Eurocentric preferences. So it really just depends on where you are and who you're surrounded by and what they find attractive. But at the end of the day, no matter your shape, size, whatever the case, it's important to know how to dress for your body type, because that has a lot to do with whether or not someone could find you attractive or not. For example, I find that a lot of a lot of persons aren't talking about Vernicia's size, and to me, she might be bigger than Tressa or just about the same size, but because of her build and she's naturally more curvy, I'm assuming it's natural. So let me just say allegedly more curvy. So she is perceived as more attractive than Tressa, not just because of facial features, but the voluptuous body type, So, and also I think she knows how to dress for her body type a little bit better than Tressa. So it's interesting to see. But yeah, so I mean, it wasn't a very long chit chat. I just wanted to talk about a few of the things that I've noticed and kind of just wanted to start a conversation. So go ahead and leave your opinions in the comments below. Let me know what you're also thinking. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit different from what we normally do, but we just had to work with what we had this week. So I'll see you guys next week, and until then,